All right, you guys, let's talk Ring of Honor. First things first, we open up the show with a promo from Eddie Kingston. This was from after he won the title from Claudio. And I'm really interested to see how he's going to be able to not only hold the New Japan title, but also having the Ring of Honor world title as well. How he's going to be able to juggle both of those things. That's going to be interesting, but congrats to Eddie Kingston. He definitely deserves it. Now, first match of the night, Nick Wayne versus Shibata. I, I don't even know where this even come from. But anyway, um, this match is not as technical as what we normally see from Shibata, but Shibata is still doing his best with Nick Wayne. I keep thinking, like, is it because Nick Wayne is friends with Darby Allin is why he's getting these types of opportunities? I don't even know where this opportunity come from for Nick Wayne to go against Shibata, but this ends up happening anyway. And I'm just thinking, should I also be friends with Darby Allin? Would I be able to have some opportunities in AEW or Ring of Honor if I was friends with him? Anyway, the match lasts about 10 minutes, and I'm going to put it this way. Shibata lets it happen for 10 minutes. During this match, Shibata's being a little technical in the beginning, but then Nick Wayne is doing his thing or whatever. It's not to say that they don't have chemistry. It's just that Shibata upholds a certain type of standard when he's in the ring, and I just don't feel like Nick Wayne is at that point anyway. But at least he gets to have some experience with a very, very great wrestler. Now, one thing that kind of took me by surprise is Nick Wayne scrawny ass is giving Shibata some chops to the chest, and they're baby chops. Shibata barely feels them, to be honest. I mean, they're more like newborn chops because he's barely doing anything, and the crowd is like, what the fuck is he doing? Does he think he's doing something with those chops? No, not at all. Now, I'll give it to Nick Wayne. You can see he really got the basics down packed or whatever, but I just don't feel like when I think of someone to go against Shibata, I don't think Nick Wayne. I'd rather see something more in the lines of technical wrestlers with Shibata in the ring. Like I said, this lasts about 10 minutes, and Shibata ends up retaining the title. We knew it wasn't going anywhere anyway, but Shibata puts him in a sleeper, and Shibata's like, you know what, let me just end this quickly, and ends up hitting a PK, takes the win, and they do the right thing and shake hands after this match. So kudos for Nick Wayne getting the opportunities, but I don't know what's going on with that. It just seems like he's being favored right now, and honestly, I don't think he really earns it. Next, we have Lee Johnson with Lexi backstage. And before he can even say a word, here comes Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor. Lee Moriarty comes up to Lee Johnson and is like, look, bro, I'm sorry you lost your match last week against Shane Taylor. But, you know, we're going to have a match later on tonight. So I want to shake hands before we get out in the ring. Lee Johnson doesn't want to hear anything that Lee Moriarty has to say. And he says he's going to end up whooping his ass later on during their match. But we'll get to that in a second. Now, next we have Diamante versus Katie Bright. Right from the start, as soon as the bell rang, here comes Diamante punching her dead in the face. And from there, she dominated the whole thing and ends up winning. This was boring. Okay, so now we have Lee Moriarty versus Lee Johnson. OMG. Lee Moriarty, a great technical wrestler. Check. Handsome. Check. An arrogant heel. Check. Straight edge. Marry me. Oh my gosh. It's really hard to find straight edge people, especially in my age group. People in their early 30s, everybody's still getting drunk and smoking weed and all that shit. It's not for me. Now, they have a really great match here. When you see Lee Moriarty in the ring, he has a really great technical style and he is very confident in the ring. And then we have Lee Johnson, who definitely comes off as he definitely underestimated Lee Moriarty. And here's the thing, while I did enjoy this match, it's apparent that there's something, I hate to say this, but something more special with what we're getting with Lee Moriarty in comparison to Lee Johnson. And I'm looking at Lee Johnson and I'm trying to figure out who is this guy? He has no character, hardly any personality, and he needs to find something that makes him stand out. When you see certain wrestlers, you look at them and you're like, oh, that's a grappler, that's a brawler, that's a high flyer. I look at Lee Johnson and I'm like, I don't know. Something about him needs to stand out. And since he's been getting more TV time these past few weeks, he really needs to step things up. He's not bad in the ring, but you don't see anything that makes him stand out either. I still enjoyed it though. Lee Moriarty takes the win. He definitely outperformed him here. Lee Johnson, he needs help. So up next, we have two really great women's matches. But before that, we do have minion training with Athena, Lexi, and Billy Starks. This was actually really, really fun. And I've been saying, like, instead of giving us matches back to back in a couple of little promos, they need to do fun things in between the show to make it fun, make it worthwhile. And this was a fun, like, 2-3 minute segment that we have with them doing silly shit and them being in training to be minions for Athena. And I really like that. That brings personality to Billy Starks as well. You know, she's 18 years old and she's always been a baby face. But tonight things started kind of changing a little bit. So we'll get into more details with that. Now, the first match we do have is Mercedes versus Trish Adora. Now, Mercedes also have Diamante, who she's been tagging with, so she's ringside. And boy, Trish Adora is basically in a handicap match. And I really enjoyed this because all three of these girls are really, really talented. And I like the fact that they're in ROH. And I would like to see them here and there more on AEW TV. Now, we've been seeing Diamante and Mercedes on Collision, but now all of a sudden that stopped and we haven't seen them ever since CM Punk left. Now, this is not about CM Punk, but I'm just saying, ever since CM Punk left, now other people who normally have not been on Collision started coming in, and that includes the girls as well. So this is more of a pushback on girls like Diamante and Mercedes that were already there for a couple of months on Collision, and now the other girls from AEW has been there. But anyway, they have a really great match, and yes, Diamante is helping Mercedes throughout this match, and whether there's cheating or not, I think it's on brand with them anyway. Not Diamante. Mercedes does take the win here, and I really want to see a lot more of them. Now, Trish Adora, she does lose, but she looks great here, and that's what I like, seeing when someone lose, but they also look great in the match as well. Now, after this, we have the women's title on the line. Athena versus Angelina Love. Holy shit. Now, this is the first match since Athena's match with Willow Nightingale at Battle for Dishonor, where I was like, you know what? Athena looks like she's in trouble. Now, this is Angelina's first match with ROH since they've rebranded ROH or whatever. So we haven't seen her in a long time in Ring of Honor. So now she's here and she dominates this match like half the time with Athena. And like I said, sometimes you're going to feel a little worried for her. The title is on the line, but it wouldn't feel right for Angelina to just come out of the blue and take the title. So I'm just thinking she's going to have a really strong debut here with this match and end up taking the loss. And she looks really, really great. Athena does take the win. But we do have Billy Starks throughout this match. Since she's a minion for Athena, she is trying to distract Angelina, and she even gets involved in here too to help Athena take the win, which is something that normally she would never do. So it's sort of heelish of her, but she comes off as a minion, like as if she doesn't know better anyway. It was actually a really fun match, and I really hope that we get to see more of Angelina in ROH because she really has a strong debut here against Athena. So if you really want to check that match out, I do recommend it. It was great. Up next, we have Layla Hirsch and the Renegades versus Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue, and Kiara Hogan, whose birthday was on the day of the taping. So she had on a shirt that said birthday bitch on it. Whatever, I wouldn't wear something like that. Now, this match, it starts off really great, and I like the energy all the girls have here. Maria does come out like somewhere in the middle of the match, and she's watching from the ramp. She's keeping her eyes out on Layla Hirsch, who at this point is 10-0 in singles matches. Actually, she's only had singles matches up until this point. Now, as we get towards the end of the match, the last like 5 or so minutes, now we're getting spots in the match where all girls are back to back in the ring, and it gets messy. And I am struggling to figure out who the hell are the legal people in this match. It just seems like everybody has something to do and they're doing it quickly, and it's like, whoa, slow the hell down. It was a little hard to keep up with. But surprisingly, we had Sky Blue taking the win for her team. I honestly thought that since Layla has a record going on right now, that she was going to end up helping her team get the win. Now, after she loses, she's definitely disappointed because she does have this streak going on, and Maria seems to be somewhat concerned, but it seems like she's going to use this loss to help get Layla into her little army she's trying to build up right now. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. She's really short. Like I looked it up and it says she's like 4'9". Like she looks like a toddler in the ring with the rest of the girls, but she is a badass in the ring. I was really surprised that her team did not get the win. So now we have backstage Mark Sterling and Tony Nese. Tony is partnering up in the trios match with Serpentico and Angelico, and he's like, look, before our match, I need to have this group workout because this stupid town needs it. They're a whole bunch of fat asses, and I need y'all to stay in the back. And when I'm done with the group workout, I will call you guys. Now, Tony and Mark Sterling are being assholes at this point and just talking to them however they feel like talking to him. And when Tony Nese and Mark Sterling start to walk away, here is Serpentico. The first time I think I've ever heard his voice calling Tony Nese a pinche culo, which is a fucking ass. And I'm just like, hold on, we can say that on TV? Then I realized we're not on TV. We're just on an app. Next, we have Ethan Page versus VSK. This was on the shorter side, not a squash, but I think Ethan looked good here. However, later on, he has a promo where he's talking about that match that he had with MJF, and I believe they was in Canada during this time. So yeah, he's Canadian. So he was like, oh, he was in his home country. He was feeling good, and he was so close to getting his hands on a Triple B. And now he's trying to reinvent himself so that he can work himself up to the top. Last year, I kept saying that this year, 2023, was going to be a breakout year for Ethan Page. And boy, I was wrong. Now, I do believe he has what it takes to be a star. It's two things, him pushing himself and also the company giving him that opportunity to be at that point. AEW really needs to focus on building up these newer upcoming talent. I know they have some of these established stars that have had fame in other companies or whatever, but you need to use these guys to help them get up somewhere. And this is where that they're really struggling with in both Ring of Honor and AEW. This is definitely a Tony Khan issue. But anyway, the match was short but sweet. And if they want to build Ethan Page to be a star, especially in ROH right now, he's going to have more longer matches and matches where he can really show what he's all about so he can get the crowd behind him. Just coming out there and telling a sob story isn't enough when it comes to being a babyface. So next we have Tony Nese, Serpentico, El Helico versus Metalik, Gravity, and El Hijo de Vikingo. This was a great match, and I'm really happy that Serpentico and Angelico, they've been actually looking great lately. You guys know they have the worst loss record in AEW. Both of them. I think Serpentico has the worst out of the two. And these past few weeks, we've been getting to see them having moments to shine and taking some wins. So that's great to see. Here's the thing. El Hijo de Vikingo, he's in this match. He goes for a dive outside the ring and somehow ends up hurting his hip. The camera cuts away from that, And then from there, we never see him in the match again. It turns out that he does have a legit injury. He did get his hip checked out and it's not broken. He was even spotted in a wheelchair after the collision tapings from last Saturday. So it was bad enough where that he couldn't continue the match. And I guess he's going to have to take some time off before he can have another match since it's not broken. I'm pretty sure he's going to give it like 2 weeks or 3 weeks tops before he's back in the ring. When it comes to these guys, Elijo de Vikingo, he does a lot of matches. He is on a weekly basis, one or more matches. He's on a lot of shows that you don't normally see, GCW, and God, he was supposed to be doing something. I can't remember what it is, but he is working at other promotions, which is a good thing for AAA to be able to have their top talent going around the U.S. and putting in some work and putting some word about AAA. But he's overworking himself. A few weeks ago, he actually passed out from exhaustion. This guy is just doing a lot, and they need to slow it down with certain people and just be like, hey, we're featuring you guys a lot. AEW has a massive roster and people that they can also use from ROH. We don't always have to get these top guys overdoing themselves for no reason at all. Anyway, he got hurt, so we don't see him in the match. So essentially, it becomes a handicap match. So it's Gravity and Metalik versus the other three. Now, throughout this match, Tony Nese is being a complete asshole to his partners. So towards the end, they end up leaving him hanging like, bitch, you can do it on your own since you think that you're better than us. And their team get the loss. But Serpentico and Angelico don't care. As long as the other team make an ass out of Tony Nese, it was a fun match. And I hope Elijo de Vikingo feels better real soon. So next we have Griff Garrison and Cole Carter versus Action Andretti and Darius Martin. I believe from the start, Griff and Cole are doomed. First things first, Action Andretti and Darius Martin, they're basically adopted brothers at this point, and they've had a lot of experience tagging with each other since earlier this year. Just about every time you see these guys in the ring, they're together. Now, Cole Carter and Griff Garrison, they're kind of not on the same page going into this match, and they don't have the experience. So I kind of felt like, that's going to show in this match. While I did enjoy it, the inexperience of them being a tag team does show here, and that is still part of the storyline. So it doesn't look bad. Now, we do have Griff, who's a babyface, and then we have Cole, who is a heel, and he's doing heelish things. And then at some point, we have Cole getting, I believe, Darius in a pin, and he is putting his legs on the ropes to enforce that pin so that Darius can't get up. So when Griff sees this, he actually pushes Cole's legs off the rope, so that breaks the pin. And Cole is mad, and Griff is like, look, if you on my team, we not cheating. I don't do this cheating shit or whatever. And I'm just like, holy shit. And Maria is there, and she's not happy about this at all because she's the one who's trying to recruit Griff into her little army. And I guess she's going to see that here that it's not working because even Maria is cheating to help them win. But Griff don't want nothing to do with that. That helps Action Andretti and Darius Martin take the win. It's a great match. We got a storyline going on, which we barely get in Ring of Honor. So I am okay with that. Action Andretti and Darius are looking great. They're looking like they're a step closer to the Ring of Honor tag titles. But honestly, I don't think that they're next in line. All right, you guys, main event time. We have the Infantry and Willie Mack versus the Mogul Embassy. This right here, I believe, is the best match, so they did save this for last. Now, I really do enjoy the Mogul Embassy together. They're great. They have Prince Nana, who's super cool. I like them. So this is, I think, the second, maybe the third time the Infantry and Willie Mack have been in a trios. there are really no trios in Ring of Honor. They just put anybody together and prey on it. Now, they do have a really great match, and I liked everybody's vibe in the ring, especially the infantry. They're so cool. They're really, really cool, and I like that Trisha Adora is with them. So they get a lot of cool points from me. However, being cool isn't enough to get gold, right? So the six-man title are on the line. And I believe at that point they're 17-0, the Mogul Embassy. And every time I see them in the ring, their synergy is just getting better and better. So I really, really like them. Now, at some point, I do believe once they drop the six-man tag to God knows who, it would be great to see them go for trios gold in AEW. That would be nice. But I do think that it's more likely that AEW will actually break these guys up and have Brian Cage do his own thing and have the Gates of Agony, being a tag division. That works well as well. Now, everybody is on point with the chemistry. Everybody's looking great, and I really did enjoy this. The Mogul Embassy does take the win. Willie Mack, he fits in with the infantry. I do think that they have great chemistry together, but personally, I would rather see him doing solo stuff. He comes in and he have really great matches, no matter what. If it's tag, trios, singles, it's great. But I feel like they don't know what to do with him. Now, I do believe he does have a contract with AEW, but I do see him a lot in the independent scene as well. So I don't know what it is, but it just seems like he's not finding his footing in terms of what's next for him. They just seem to keep putting him in situations or whatever. But either way, this was a great way to close off the show. Once again, they are taping Ring of Honor around Collision, and it starts off before people start really coming in, before the bell time for Collision. So the venue looking empty as hell during these matches, and they do put the lights down low and it's dark, but you can still see how empty the arena is. I'm still thinking that they're probably going to benefit from just going back to Universal Studios. I think it might be a better look at some point. Either way, this was not a bad 2 hours to spend with watching wrestling. They're starting to do a little bit more when it comes with the storylines. It's slowly, but we're getting somewhere. And I'm just hoping by their next pay-per-view, which would be Final Battle, most likely that's in December. Wow, that actually feels like a long ways from now. I just hope things are going to improve tremendously in terms of the stories that we got last year. With no stories, basically no stories with Ring of Honor. They knocked out the park with all their pay-per-views. Now this year, there's barely no stories, and they're still knocking out the park with the pay-per-views. But it's like, hey, you guys have a weekly show. We should have stories going into these pay-per-views, and that will make Ring of Honor so much more interesting. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I'll be back tomorrow with a Rampage Grand Slam. It's 2 hours, by the way.